This is the Singer 766, and I can tell just by the noise that it's making when I turn the hand wheel that something's not quite right. More than likely the motor belt tension's not tight enough. And if we plug it in, sounds okay. Sounds okay there, but if I put a little bit of, if I hold back on the hand wheel a little bit, you can hear it. That's the belt slipping. It's a toothed belt, so yeah, I would say more than likely that motor belt tension's too loose. Yeah, and we'll see in here that there's a couple of clips here, so if you push down they will just pop off and that whole plastic section there falls out. Get the clips back out, and in here, yeah, this is a really common fault with these machines at this age. There is a motor belt adjustment, so there's a screw here that leads through, and on the end of that screw there's a little a pin which is offset, so when you turn the screw here it moves this motor up and down, therefore setting the motor belt tension. And there is a little plastic, I can see right now, this little plastic piece is coming to bits, and that is just a common problem, that the plastic's got brittle. Let's get my torch here. Yeah, it's an Allen key grub screw. So this being a German machine, made in Germany, will be metric. That is a 2.5 millimeter, and it's tight, very tight. Just need to loosen that. That whole screw part will come back, I think. Yeah. I'm just going to push that right out if I can. I might not be able to get to that right now. Just going to look into removing the motor as well, because I'm not sure of the state of those hinge bearings, the plastic hinge bearings. So I think we'll start by removing this. Ooh, that's tight. Get a little bit of leverage here. Ooh, yep, that's tight. Undo that, and that should allow that hinge pin to be removed. That should just push back. The other thing I should probably do is remove the motor belt here. There we go. And just push that pin back here. Might just need a little bit more. Yeah, that starting to fall to bits. That hinge There we go. It's got that pin back far enough. Push that out of the way and it should, yeah, okay. And very conveniently there's a plug, very easily accessible plug there. 2 clips on it. There we go. They certainly made these machines easy to work on. I mean, that's just so easy to get a motor out, isn't it? It makes you wonder why they don't make things like that today. Easily serviceable. Anyway, there's the motor out, and yeah, you can see all sorts of crud leftover bits and pieces from these motor mounts there. So there's the remains of one of them. One there. And the other one. And the motor block. So they're all made of the same material by the look of that. And here we have the motor. I would be quite interested in getting in there to check the motor brushes. So I would say that this pulley here has got to come off, and take these 2 screws here off. Maybe that end cap comes off, and then that should give us access to the brushes, the motor brushes. And you certainly don't want motor brushes wearing out completely. They are designed to wear, but you don't want them wearing completely because it will damage the motor as soon as they wore out completely. Damage the motor possibly beyond repair. Well, maybe not beyond repair, but it would be an expensive fix. Let's get this off. Motor pulley, 2 screws, one there, and it would be a certain waste, definite waste, to have that happen to such a nice machine. When it's totally preventable. Now, that whole shooting match wants to come out, I think. Just gently working away at that. Well, I think that's as far as I'll go with that, because I can access the brushes from here. And sometimes the holder, the brush holder, this part here, actually has a small slit down the side of it, so you can actually, without removing the brushes, you can actually check how much life they've got left. But this one will need to be removed, I think, just to make 100% sure. Oh look, yeah, that's actually easy to get right off. There's another capacitor here. When I say another one, I did a short video on the foot controller, pulling the foot controller apart. There's a 0.1 microfarad capacitor in the foot controller, and there's another one there. That is a 25 nanofarad X2 capacitor. That looks okay. I would be tempted just to leave that. We have a close look here. There's a little tab here which needs bending back. Just start that bending. And the motor brush just pinged out, which is what I was worried about. Yeah, the spring shot out. Now, let's bend that right back. A little bit reluctant to bend that too far, because you do that too many times, it'll break that tab off, and that would be well, not impossible to repair, but just a pain. So let's see if we, yeah, there's the brush there. Just be careful when you're dealing with brushes that you put them back in the way they came out, in the orientation that they came out in. You can see that the little cut, there's a little cut out there facing towards the pulley side of the motor. So there's plenty of life left in that one, and the reason you don't want to get them, the motor brushes, back in the wrong way, is you can see that they wear slightly unevenly because they're slightly off center. So you want to put, that's why you want to put them back in the way they come out. So put that back in, spring back in. Bend the tab back over. Done. You could just assume that the other brush is the has just as much life left in it. I mean, that would be an assumption, but I'll check that other brush anyway, just in case. You'd expect them to wear evenly. I've never seen a set of brushes wear unevenly, you know, with one wearing out faster than the other, but I'll double check that one anyway. Ready to go back together there. Making sure that the capacitor goes back into its little, there's a little space there for the capacitor to sit down in. Looks like there's the cat turned up. It's Molly. That looks like just some sort of tape there, but it's quite sticky. Push that back in. Capacitor. Just making sure that these wires aren't catching on the sides there. There we go. Okay. Pulley back on. You'll notice there's a flat spot on the shaft there, so the pulley can only go back on one way, and that's why I undid the grub screw quite some way as well, just to give it clearance on the shaft there. I wouldn't position the pulley right up against the housing there, I'd give it a little bit of clearance. Just I'll just come back just a fraction. It's on the flat there. Just got clearance there, that's all good. Just tighten that up. And I'll go ahead and order these parts, the two mounts, hinge mounts there, and the block which slides in here. So when I get the new parts, I will show you how that goes together there.